All right, we are on Play It Forward, and today we have Israel Leon Fajer, and we were going to be talking about De Agua, or Underwater in English. Writer-director Israel, thank you for being on the show. How's it going?
Thank you, Kostya. It's been great. I really appreciate the invite to this whole project of yours.
Thank you, and that we owe thanks to Quao Velasquez, who nominated you. Thank you, Quao. I appreciate it, and that's what we're all about. Filmmakers playing it forward, putting the hands of recognition in the creative class. We're going to be talking to you today about Underwater. It's a difficult film. It explores power dynamics, like you said, and love, and that's such an important exploration because so much of love gets ruined by power. Now, before we talk about your film and before we talk about you set up the scenario, the synopsis of the short, tell us a little about yourself as a filmmaker and human being on the planet.
Well, I was born and raised in Mexico City. My culture abbreviates from this country, and all my references are, but also American and European. But I think the culture is it sets the stage for where you are coming from, no? I've been writing since I was 16 years old. I started my filmmaker's journey about more than 20 years ago. Oh my God, that's a lot of time. And so I started at 16 and then made my first short film at 18. And 20 years later, I'm still going at it, writing for film, TV series, and also just made my first feature film like
Congrats.
4 months ago. So I'm still on the post-production process of that.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. That's awesome. That's a lot of great experience, and you've been doing it for a good amount of time and getting into the film now, again, and exploring those themes. Can you set up the film for us?
Yeah, the film is about a couple, a gay couple actually, that is going through some kind of crisis after many years of being together, and which I think it's normal in every relationship. Like there are some peaks and valleys that you have to go through. And in this particular crisis, they've outgrown each other. No, more like they have outgrown the relationship. So they are trying to reconnect to each other because they don't want to break up. And that is, I think it's a radical decision in this particular moment we're living because we are society in general tends to finish things that are complicated for us. No, that we don't want to go through them, so we just end them. And I think this decision is radical. The decision to stay is radical because it goes against this force, social force to end things.
Mm.
So the question is, how do we stay together in spite of all of these differences between us? And that answer is not very simple.
Mm. Mm.
The film is inspired by Sigmund Bauman's liquid love theory. That's why it's called the Agua and Underwater, because it's a philosopher that talks about how the state of modern love is liquid and not. So yeah, I wanted to reference that theory and again go against this force of society to separate us. I think that's probably where I coming from.
That's great. That's a great intro, Israel. Thank you. Let me take it away a little bit from there and we'll start rolling with the themes that are so heavy and so important. What I hear you saying is that, in a modernity, in a disposable culture where, plastic and is unavoidable and we are all consumers and consuming at a ever increasing rapid pace, certainly there is that pressure to, if it's difficult, well, just get a new one, right?
Yeah.
And what happens is that we lose out on the experience of overcoming challenges and climbing the mountains and coming to the new point of views and seeing the new horizons. And I think that's a really great thing that you're looking at from this perspective of, well, if you can't access it with a click of a button, then why bother? Get
Yeah.
rid of it. So here we are, you have two males with this backdrop. The film is constantly exploring these beta fighting fish. And
Yeah.
these beta fighting fish, right, it's set in within this masculine context, are the beta fish are both if they're put into the same proximity, they will kill one, fight to the death. So you have these two males, and it's certainly, this notion of power dynamics is, male, female, whatever the relationship may be, it's there in every single case wherever there are two people with egos, right? There
Yeah.
are two people with egos, there are two people with a going to be a power struggle. So that's universal, and we have to understand, how do we navigate that? How do we navigate ego with the people we love?
Mm.
And, it boils down in my experience to communication. And these two characters really have pretty shitty communication. They don't
Yes.
really talk, right? That's one thing that's evidently lacking. One is kind of an artist, and you see him working and kind of exploring. The other one is kind of frustrated, kind of trying to get the other's attention.
Mhm.
You see him sitting at a desk, but he's just impatient and has abundance of energy that just seems like he needs to release and burst. And at the climatic moment, he ultimately leaves his lover. He goes out and has a flurry of infidelities, and then he comes back beat up. And what is interesting when he returns to his partner is that the partner continues to love him. He doesn't reject him, right? So
Mhm.
there's some sort of acceptance there of suffering and prioritizing love over ego in
Mhm.
some capacity, right? So there's a hint of light there in terms of compassion. That said, it's so interesting, when we discussed before, like the psychology of filmmaking, how does this artwork come out of your own experience, your own psychology? How do you evolve beyond the art after reflecting on the art? So to put that out there, these themes of love, power, ego, and transcendence, where did they originate in your original exploration, and how have they informed you to live a more happy life?
Well, the first thing that I comes to mind is self-awareness, no? I think that as long as we are open and alert to our own shadows, we can manage them or even control them, no? And with shadows, I'm talking about this power dynamic, the aggression, the violence that every one of us has. And I wanted to explore that, no? That how do we deal with them? And as a filmmaker, I think that it's important to put your shadow into the work and then look at it into the eyes of that shadow and try to understand it so it doesn't dominate you and you dominate it through art. For me, it's been an interesting journey to let myself out there, like this vulnerable process of putting myself out there through my characters and through my stories, and then looking at them and reflecting on them to grow as a person and be a better man and a better, in this case, a better lover. um, it's not that the intention of the film is for me to learn from it, but it's something that ends up happening anyway. So let's embrace that and use it to become a better person and a better filmmaker. No?
Absolutely, absolutely, 100%. And the nature of storytelling and the nature of inquiry that is art. Art is a type of inquiry. There
Yeah.
has to be something that we are, you know, claiming from the fire, reclaiming it so that we can use it as fuel in our own lives and to live better life. And when you look at these people, when you look at these characters who are struggling, who are suffering, who are creating karma and pain for themselves and each other in this particular context. How do you now, you've made the film, you've shot it, how do you now see this whenever you get into a relationship, whether it's with an intimate lover or whether it's a friend or whether it's a parent or a child, how when you find yourself in this power struggle, how, or whether if it's a customer service representative on the phone, how do you navigate it in a way that is loving?
It's been a painful process, I have
Oh
to
yeah.
say,
Oh yeah.
because when you go through life with your heart up your sleeve,
When you're with
and
your heart on your sleeve?
yeah,
Yeah.
and you offer it, and you present yourself through love, aware of your shadows, that not everyone is at the same level of vulnerability that you are. So your heart tends to be broken all the time by everyone. And I've come to conclude through these many, many years of art research
Mhm.
that it's something that I have to accept. You have to be willing to live with your broken heart in order to keep things worth it. Because there are no other, for me, there's no other way to relate to others if it's not from there, from that place of vulnerability, of awareness, and a, a full acceptance of who you are with your bad and your good, no? And how you can share this with the other ones around you.
I love that. I love that, Israel. Thank you. You have to be able to live with a broken heart, to feel the world completely as it is, to feel your own self as you are in the world as it is. And when you're in that place, you're in a real place. You're really connected, and often that hurts. And it also allows us to feel the heights of connectivity and of union. And yeah.
And I think that it's very it's not only for our daily life. I think I take that to my creative process as a filmmaker and a writer. And I think it's very, if I have something to share with the world, I would say that. I would say that making art and making films has to come from that place of awareness and heartbrokenness. So it's infused with your soul in that vulnerable way, because and aware of it, because how many filmmakers or artists are out there who are just going through the hoops and making art for the sake of making art without even without this awareness of why are they making it, or from where are they speaking to the world. And I think this awareness gives you some kind of freedom.
Well, that's the question. That's really what I wanted to hear from you is that why? Why do we want to come from a place of soul?
Yeah.
And I think that answers it. It's true freedom.
Yeah, I think so. And it's painful and it sucks sometimes. But but I think it ultimately it's worth doing so.
No doubt. and you've expressed and you've said how you've matured over the period that you first explored these two characters in Agua, and then since remake or making it into a feature, and you've journeyed in that time, 13 years, and you've had time to work on yourself through this self-awareness. I want to see if you can give me and our viewers a tip in the heat of the moment when you feel rage and you feel like hurting someone, even yourself. How do you?
Turn the switch off.
Thank you.
Um, it's because I know myself and how maybe I can be hurtful with my voice, probably, or with my thoughts. And so in being aware of it, I think that you 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 take care of the other ones because probably they don't need to hear that truth right now.
Hmm.
Or they don't need, or probably I remove myself from a situation
Hmm.
that I know it's gonna end bad if I stay there.
Hmm.
Like that awareness helps me know how to navigate these situations, and maybe if I have to remove myself, or if I have to answer it, or if I have to fight against it for because it's been an injustice or something. Like I think that awareness, and speaking of freedom, lets you choose how do you want to fight the battle if
Hmm.
you want to do that, no? So, yeah, that's what I was talking about, awareness and freedom, because the more aware you are of yourself, the more free you are to conduct yourself in these
Hmm.
situations and
Love it.
choose and don't let the emotions overcome you, no?
Yes. Hmm. Any parting thoughts?
Well, just to thank you a lot and recognize the work that you're doing, because I think the more of these projects are in the world, like makes us like a real true community of filmmakers internationally, no? Because now the world is global, so it's nice to meet people from other places and share our experiences with them.
Thank you. The film is De Agua. The filmmaker is Israel Leon Fajer, writer director. Thank you so much. Keep us posted on your work.